Um, Section 2 of Chapter 4. So this is going to be Chapter 4.2. Photosynthesis, which we're going to abbreviate PSN, and respiration, which we're going to abbreviate RSP. Two interconnected, super important chemical reactions. Photosynthesis and respiration. Now, these two things, I said they're interconnected. In fact, one is the reverse of the other. And here's how it works. It, of course, starts with sunlight energy. And that sunlight energy coming from the sun reaches a leaf. And it may be one of the leaves that we looked at in lab, perhaps. And that leaf is a advanced structure for capturing sunlight. And let's say that we look at it closely, and yeah, what's stomata U? So there's different layers of the leaf, right? Different layers of that leaf. And if we blew it up and enlarged it, there would be this outer layer here of cells. There would be a lower double layer of cells here, bigger. The outer layer is usually a waxy coating. Waxy. And let's make this three-dimensional now. This outer coating prevents water from being lost to the environment. That plant wants to conserve water so it can use it for its cells, and so there's a waxy coating on the top of the leaf. Now on the bottom of the leaf, as we saw in lab yesterday, in our What's Stomata U lab, there are holes, and those holes, I'm just going to draw, you wouldn't be able to see it in this angle, but I'm just going to draw, a couple holes here. These are these stomata. And so we have light hitting the leaf. That's one part of the mystery. The other thing is that we have carbon dioxide going in to the leaf. We also, let's say this is part of a tree out where Mrs. T and I went running and collected it. Here's the tree that it fell from, and water is being transported from the roots up the tree to the leaf. So water goes in and CO2 goes in. So water and CO2 go in along with light energy. That's the first part of this chemical reaction. So those stomata, remember, are holes in the bottom of the leaves. What are the holes surrounded by? What kind of cell? Yeah, Joe? Guard cells, yeah. So in lab yesterday, for those of you that had a thick leaf, we didn't see it so much on the thinner leaves. The thinner, delicate leaves didn't show their stomata that well. But on the thicker leaves, we saw that, this is the stomata, we saw that these cells on the outside are guard cells, and those help the stomata open and close when they get water. So when they get water, they poof up, their vacuoles poof up, and the hole closes. And when they dry out during the day, the cells shrink and the holes open, and CO2 goes in. Okay, are we good up to this point? Okay, so let's see what happens next. So so we have CO2 plus H2O, and in the presence of light, L-I-G-H-T, those two chemicals join together. These are called reactants. And they form, there's a chemical reaction, and they form oxygen, or O2, and sugar. And the specific type of sugar, it's oxygen, is called glucose. Glucose, super important sugar. The chemical formula for glucose is C6H12O6. C6H12O6. These chemicals on this side are called the products. The products. And this whole reaction in this direction is called photosynthesis. Photo meaning light, and synthesis meaning coming together. What comes together? Well, the CO2 and the water come together in the presence of light to form oxygen that we need, and glucose, which is the sugar, energy. Well, if you reverse this process, if you combine oxygen and glucose together, really what you're doing is you're burning glucose, you're burning sugar, you're using up that sugar and you're releasing the energy from it. When you break those bonds of the sugar, it releases the energy that was stored from the sun in that molecule. So the sunlight's energy is stored in this molecule. When you do the reverse, when you burn that sugar, and this holds true for proteins and fats as well as these, which are called carbohydrates. The glucose is a carbohydrate. When you burn that carbohydrate, when you break it down, when you add oxygen to it and break the molecule apart, it releases the sun's energy that was stored in there. Well, if you do that, you're doing the reverse of photosynthesis, which is called respiration. And the plant does this. The plant does respiration as well as photosynthesis, does both. When you do that, when you combine those, it releases water and carbon dioxide. So when you breathe out, or when the plant breathes out, it releases carbon dioxide, and we're going to prove this in our lab experiment. It releases carbon dioxide and water. Okay, so it's the reverse of photosynthesis. Okay, so when you break down this glucose, it releases that oxygen, or that CO2 that was trapped in the molecule. So on this question right here, cells obtain energy from glucose through the process of photosynthesis? No. They obtain energy from glucose when they break the glucose molecule apart during respiration. So if you break this glucose molecule apart during respiration, going the exact opposite direction, when you break that molecule apart, when you burn it really with oxygen, you're releasing the sun's energy. And you're getting the energy that you stored in the glucose. Okay, does that make sense? All right. Let's call an end to this. I'll put this recording up online so you can listen to it and review for the test.